What is up, everyone? I hope you're doing well. Fuji just released their newest lens, the XF 18mm f1.4 LM.
It's a breeze, boy, I told you it's a breeze. Yo, it's a breeze, boy, I told you it's a breeze. Yo, it's a breeze, boy, I told you it's a breeze. I'm up in the VIP and it's all on GOD.
Alright, so let's go over a few specs on this.
What did you do to your Fuji XE4?
Oh, this?
It's gold, but why?
Yeah, well, let me explain. So originally the idea was to just do the lettering, make the Fuji and the XE4, make that just gold itself, but now I was like, screw it, I think I can do this whole thing gold. Okay, so now that's out of the way and explained. In this review, I wanted to kind of dive into the more video aspects for this lens. The reason being, if you look at Fuji's lineup, they have a very vast array of lenses, compact small lenses for photography. They have, the 14, the 16, they have an 18f2, and now this is the 18f1. So what I'm going to be tackling is, what is this lens for? How does it stand out for the rest of the lenses? And do I actually like it? So the 18mm is relatively small and lightweight for sure. Even on this XE4 body with this lens on it, the body's still much heavier. It's a lot of the weight sits back here, which is quite nice. The 18mm performs really well wide open at f1.4 with little to no chromatic aberration. Now here's the selling point I think for this lens is the linear motor system. This thing is super fast, quick, and silent, and that's what you want to kind of look for in a lens that delivers better autofocus capabilities with a camera body like the Fuji X-T4. Now Fuji only has a few other lenses with the LM badge. I believe it's the 16-55 2.8 and the 18-55 2.8 to f4, I believe. And I think there's another prime lens. I'll put it here somewhere. But the more integration of this is just better performance overall optically and just with autofocus. Now, I have to be honest, Fuji still has a long way to go to catch up to Canon or Sony, that is, when it comes to autofocusing. But this is a great step in the right direction, incorporating this newer technology to have better autofocusing performances, as well as just more silent and just quicker response times. Now, paired with the XE4 and the XE4, these cameras both share the same autofocus settings. So now I can dial in the right speed and responsiveness for this lens, and I got some pretty good results. Testing the XE4 on Eterna with the autofocus stuff. It's set to both 0 tracking and 0 smoothness. I don't know what the settings are. So this is the first one. It's not picking up my face. I don't see it really picking up my face. Okay, now I've set it to tracking to 3 and then sensitivity to 2. And it seems to be holding on a little bit longer. Go right here. I'm gonna open up to 1.4, see what happens. Way more bright, but it's probably some hunting too. I'm going to just stop down a little bit now. So I'm gonna switch out my cinema camera here and put in the X-T4 so you can kind of see some of the optical performances of this lens. I like to do this little studio test with my lights up here, so let's do that. All right, so this is just basically the standard profile. My tracking speed is -3 and my sensitivity is +3. I found this to be a good general, less hunting because it's not trying to catch up to wherever my face is. And then it's set to face detection with the left eye or both eyes, whatever, I think. Looking at the screen here, and it's relatively, It's doing an okay job. I don't see much hunting, but it's a small screen. So see what I mean? Like if I'm this close, even though it's like out of focus, it doesn't jump to it. I don't like that jumpy feel. Catch it, catch it, catch it, caught it. Bang. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so like I was saying, I like to do a little bit of a test with just a harsh light, and you can kind of see here the blooming is well controlled even at 2.5. All right, so now this is at f1.4. Oh my gosh, it took forever to spin. All right, so now that's at f1.4. Let's just see how this looks back here. See that? So yeah, it does pretty well with chromatic aberration. You don't see any weird purple. I see a little green, but it's very slight. And it seems to be tracking pretty okay at f1.4. So yeah, now turn off that light. Now you can kind of see if it flares a little bit more. Seems to lose me a little bit. And that's the combination of the camera, how well it can focus in low light. But again, you can't hear anything, and the lens is moving pretty quickly just to keep up with me. So the 18 focal length on a crop sensor like the X-T4 or XE4 is an interesting field of view. You roughly get a 27 field of view equivalent to full frame. This is kind of nice. It's sort of a standard wide. I did take it out for vlogging as well as B-roll content, just using it as a daily driver. So if you watched the previous video, the third episode for the Myth series that we're making, all that was shot on the XE4 with the 18mm. So you'll see its downfalls, and you'll see some really great moments in that video, and some of its downfalls when it was trying to hunt. Now, there was a couple of times where I did find this field of view a little bit crammed, a little bit tight, a little claustrophobic, you know. But capturing B-roll, whether it be product shots or just like landscapes or vistas or anything like that, this lens is really nice. It's a really gorgeous lens. The minimum focus distance is about 7 inches, so you can get pretty close to some of your subjects. Now, just for kicks and giggles, I want to compare the 12mm from my SLR Magic Micro Prime to the 18, so you can see how much distortion is controlled with this lens compared to a wider ultra wide lens on the APS-C sensor. All right, so now who is this lens for, and where does it fit from all of the other lenses that Fuji has in the upper tier when it comes to wide and standard lenses? So there's a 14mm, there's a 16 f.1, there's a 16 f.2, and there's an 18 f2, which is the older one. Now I know that there are zoom lenses, the 8 to 16, which is the linear motor system as well, and the 16 to 55, but we're just talking about the primes. Here's how you can decide what lens to get. If video is primarily one of your biggest assets when using Fuji cameras and you want a native lens, this is the lens to go. Just for those reasons I said earlier. The linear motor system is much faster, it's much quieter, works better with the autofocus systems for video and for photography. It's optically really good, and it's just overall a nice light lens to kind of have. It's sort of a standard wide, and it's pretty versatile in a lot of use cases. Now, if you don't really need to worry about that and you care about more of a field of view and your primary photography, then the other lenses are going to suit you just fine. So that's where I kind of stand with this lens. I like it. I can see this in my kit for all the necessary B-roll things for YouTube or just like going out and about, because this lens barely weighs anything. It's really unobtrusive, and it's just a fun compact lens to have in my kit. So with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out the links in the description below. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.
It's a breeze, boy, I told you it's a breeze. Yo, it's a breeze, boy, I told you it's a breeze. Yo, it's a breeze, boy, I told you it's a breeze. I'm up in the VIP and it's all on Jill D. Look.